Hello, hello. Let me just do a quick audio check on the stream side so you'll hear an echo for a bit. Quick audio check on the stream side so you'll. Nice. Seems like everything is working. We can close this out and start actually looking at the match. So this is actually, I believe, part 5 or even part 6 of this match. It's one turn 118. It's being very much a slogfest fight on the middle city of Hipporegius for most of this match. And I would not expect anything else from this one for today either. So let's take stock on where we are at. So rather late in the game, Auro and Carthage, Mojo and Assyria. Carthage is at what's this? 5 cities only. Oh yeah, this was the match that had very few city sites, I believe. So instead of having, where is it? City sites on high, it's on medium, which means that usually these duel maps tend to have 14, so 12 to 14 sites is pretty common. Sometimes you get even to like 16. But this map only has a total of 10 sites on it, which means that the military build-up has been rather constrained compared to what it could be. So that makes the both players having such large armies even more impressive than it would be otherwise. So let's see. Assyria is currently defending the city for the most part. This used to be a Carthaginian city that got captured, and now Carthage has been spending a lot of time trying to take it back. Means that these turns have been rather slow, with both players spending most of the time planning military moves instead of really ecoing up to a super high extent. Graphs, this is probably a good thing to check out as well. Syria has more wealth, more population, specialists, a tiny bit more. Carthage has built more units, but I also assume that Carthage has lost more units. Yeah, makes sense. It's really common when you are on the attack, but you cannot really make a breakthrough immediately. You tend to lose your more units that way. Kills. It inflated by tribal units killed. Laws both are on 7, and both have their 8th strength units. We can talk about that a bit later. Technology is pretty much even. And improvements will also be pretty much even. Neither player has any wonders yet. Let's see if there's something. Oh yeah, Heliopolis is on the way for Assyria. Actually, does Assyria have? Yeah, they have polytheism, so they can have a lot of shrines in every city. So Heliopolis will be a absolutely massive amount of orders for them. So Heliopolis says that every shrine gives you an extra order. So this rather limited to order pool. Let's see what it's at actually. This plus 24 orders that Assyria has, it might as well. It could easily double, or at least go up by 50%. Actually, yeah, Carthage actually has a surprisingly high order advantage compared to Assyria. Let's see if I can see some easy reason for this. I'm guessing it's just the bonuses from probably specialists, if I had to guess. Yeah, there's traveler specialists, but Even that probably isn't enough to explain everything. Carthage just sending some Onages shots to the city. These hill onagers can reach the city, but cannot be really hit back in response. These chariots don't do quite enough damage. Even this war elephant doesn't do enough to actually get a kill. Yeah, I wonder why it's so low, the legitimacy on Carthage. I'm just guessing there's a lot of deaths. This is for the current king, so I believe the current king is already the 6th ruler of Carthage. That one, but succession. Yeah, if this is the original king, second king, third king, fifth, sixth, yeah. So a lot of deaths. And also the smaller map also means that you just get less legitimacy from everything. You get less orders from exploring, from building your garrisons, from just having resources on the map in general. With the lower. So, but it's also funny because that even with just 44 legitimacy, Carthage is actually higher legitimacy than Assyria at this point. Actually, what's this negative cognomens? Let's see. Although, yeah. So there's also a chance that with all this fighting, both players might have gotten some negative cognomens along the way. Losing cities, losing units, also contributes to that. Yeah, and this is also already the 5th. No, the 4th. This is also the 6th one. There was just one queen that died really young with no absolutely no legitimacy bonus. It's also pretty notable that both players are just at 4 and 3 ambitions respectively, so this is a lot of legitimacy left on the board, or on the table rather. But this is being the centerpiece of this whole match. Both players have been fighting over this valley for a long time here. Mostly because the terrain is kind of awkward to fight in other places. I remember Auro trying to make a naval invasion over these mountains here and land into Gaza, but I believe that got driven back because he couldn't. It was early enough where he couldn't muster enough forces to actually push through. But I'm kind of confused though, because both players do have exploration, which means that these two rivers are working as roads for them. So just marching over marching a single chariot even through these areas towards the heartlands and pillaging on the ways would be a lot of forces you would need to divert from the hills here. No, just a notification for moving a scout. But yeah, Carthage's king is a judge who can rush. I assume that he has been making use of that as well. Let's see if I can see it here. In this city at least. While Assyria's king is an orator, kind of unoptimal at this point. Though I do wonder how bad his family opinion is here. Yeah, he has no families on friendly, which would give him some orders. Though with just so few cities, 5 orders, even getting the full 5 orders wouldn't be that meaningful. More kids, let's see. There's a zealot coming next in line for Assyria. Seems good, especially with Zoroastrianism in every city. Well, for Carthage, There's a tactics student kid as well. Could basically go into everything that you can get from tactics students. I think all the fighting archetypes would be good. Probably Tactician doesn't scale as well into the late game as heroes and commanders do, I think, as well as zealots. But both players are probably spending a lot of their training just to supplement either their orders or getting promotions on these really large armies. So I think a commander would be so much extra training that would be directly saving you some training. So that would be, or so much extra XP that would save you a lot of training in promoting these units. Something that you can also see really quickly is that Carthage has been attacking and has been losing a lot more units than Assyria has. So Assyria has these promoted units already that Carthage's army is really lacking. If I look for chevrons, this is actually the only unit that is even double promoted. While all of these Assyrian units, you can think that they have one extra level of promotion with the free focus that Assyria gets. So if you do the math and think that level 1 promotion would be 100 training, this is an awesome amount of training that you get for free for being Assyria. Even if focus isn't maybe the most optimal promotion you would have want on all of these units. Well, yeah, while Carthage just has this one archer, this one maceman, and amphibious maceman as well. Not sure if that's going to be impactful at all. Family opinion, Carthage is doing fine. Not enough to actually get any real bonuses outside the riders, but riders are the family that you really want to be happy anyways. But no rebels either, which is good. For Assyria, it's the champions are unhappy, which is unfortunate. But I assume, yeah, it's freedom. Freedom is active, so you don't really get any negatives for that. Wait, am I saying this right? This is Judaism as a whole, as a state religion, but I don't think Assyria really has Judaism spread anywhere. No, actually, I'm just misreading the symbols again. Oh. This is Judaism, this is Judaism, this doesn't, and this doesn't. So actually missing a lot of cities, missing the state religion would be unfortunate for the judge judge, not judge, zealot here. Upgrading this ballista. Yeah, both players are really far into the tech tree, so Assyria is just able to build ballista. A bit awkward though, because both of the Assyrian unique unit, the siege tower, does count as siege, which means that the unique unit of Carthage, the elephant here, African elephant, not turreted elephant is the upgraded one. So these turreted elephants, because they do have the mounted trait, they do plus 50% combat damage against the siege units. So going for both ballista and siege towers does mean that if these Carthaginian elephants find a spot where there is no spearmen to block route chains, they can go absolutely for wild against these forces. Let's see, has Assyria marked anything? No, not that I can see. Going for metaphysics at the moment, probably just cycling the deck, because this is the cheapest option you have. I assume it's Windlass is the pretty obvious choice to go for here. Having both manor and hydraulics just means that you have all the prerequisites for this one. Very powerful, getting those 8 strength units on the field. Aside from these really slow siege towers. Was a scout into position so he does see the Carthaginian army moving southwards, or at least staging here. Yeah, we can see here. Let's see what he picks. I assume it would be. Yeah. Could be stirrups, could be architecture, could be even the longbowman. I don't think he wants to go for Podkin arrow here because he does have the access to crossbowmen. Okay, I'll come back to this later. Let's see what Carthage did on the last turn. Went for citizenship. And does already have the laws here for temples even. I should actually check if he has built any temples yet. Not quite as obvious for me what he's going for. Could be even cataphracts maybe, but I don't know. That seems so far away. The power graph is, let's see, military, very even still. Oh, it actually kind of looks more even than it is. There's a 500 point gap, but because both players have so many units, you don't really. It doesn't seem as obvious. I think it's also because basically every unit that Assyria has is here, stacked up on this area here, while Carthage has some units on the hills here, but also a lot of units down near Tenay. But yeah, I wanted to check temples. Do we have any temples? Yeah, temples here. Let's see. There's one here as well. No, there's one here in the temple, in the capital as well. And I assume, yeah, makes sense. I think this is actually the difference in orders between the two players is the temples giving you extra orders. So this 2.5 goes quite a long way on such a restricted map. But I do wonder where this match is going to go from here, because for most of the match Auro has been trying to break the Assyrian army here, but it hasn't really been successful. It's the most fights have been ended in either Carthaginian losses or if you want to be generous, like Carthaginian draws maybe. But it seems to be pretty likely that Assyria is just going to hold until they get another 8 strength units and the Heliopolis finishes, and then they get. I don't think it's quite enough to get an order advantage, but it's a. No, it actually would be enough to get an order advantage then. Can we actually. We can see it from. Let's see. Maybe we can see it from here, so improvements controlled Assyria. Yeah, it's 10, 15 shrines, so that would be 15 orders already. And he could even get more shrine in his cities before the Heliopolis finishes. So that would be basically doubling his available orders. I do wonder why Carthage is going for citizenship. Where are the options? I mean, it's probably better than the alternatives. Cathedrals could be interesting if you already have temples. I should actually check what the. Yeah, you could get some training from your temples here, or monasteries rather. Yeah, and Sion is saying in chat that he's wondering why Aura just doesn't go around. Because these onagers aren't moving anywhere soon. And I do tend to agree. Especially with exploration, this even these axemen can move pretty far. If you stage them on these 3 forests here, you could easily go for Tushpa or even push beyond. And you probably wouldn't even need that many units, just a couple of chariots would pull a lot of these units away. I don't know how many exactly, but I think you would need at least multiple of these spears, and pulling over these spears away from the front line is really dangerous for Assyria. With these elephants being able to maybe hit these onagers, and even these weaker 6 strength elephants can two-shot those. The kind of awkward thing for Carthage is as well that they aren't really super close to a military unit upgrade. They are going for Port Cullis, and I assume... I mean, that would say to me that they are going jurisprudence marked. Interesting. Is he going to go for some insurrection plays? Because I think this the marking on cohorts makes a lot of sense to me, going for these 8 strength melee units that you could march forwards and just try to tank hits from the onagers without immediately dying. But this jurisprudence seems really far away for me. Especially if you look at Mojo here, and he's cycling for 3 longbowmen, and he is already getting close to grabbing Windlass. Seems like he has already put a turned worth of research into it even. But yeah, once he gets cycled Windlass, it's 8 turns, and then he can start building or even upgrading some of these archers into crossbows. But yeah, it's pretty awkward. Both players being in a position where they really can't. They can kind of harass each other over this city, but neither player can really take it. Yeah, there's a question. I was looking at the elites as well, but I don't really. I don't really see this being worth, especially with the high training upkeep. So it would be. You can do a lot of things with the storing orders part of this law as well, just as in addition to the extra orders you get from your cities or legendary cities, but both players have such low order economy this game with the fewer city sites that it seems hard to stockpile enough orders to actually make super high use of that. That's some officers up. Okay, how quickly can these cities hard build units? 4 years for basically everything here. 3 years for even the most expensive one, so both players definitely have really strong war economy, even if they just want to hard build units instead of buying them. Aside from their capital, maybe. Yeah, same on this side. Getting fortune siege towers is quite nice. Oh, this is actually interesting. Getting volunteers and professional army offered. I don't actually know which one you would call here. Usually I think getting volunteers is really nice for the little bit of training you get, but the hurrying is always really powerful. Even if hurrying with population is probably I think it's the most limited hurrying that you have, because you can't really all the other hurrying uses resources on the top bar that you can generate from one city and then hurry in another city, while pro population is city specific. So this doesn't really move your resources all around as efficiently. Or rather, it's really efficient, but it's you can't really move resources from one city to another. While these professional armies, even this EXP bonus during combat is really meaningful with this many units on the field. Both are definitely good flaws, and I think um, adopting one of them is a good use of your civics in this game. Let's see, am I getting tagged? Nope. Yeah, and Carthage doesn't show stronger for Mojo, which makes sense with the... Oh, actually, Carthage getting stronger a lot faster than Assyria is. The kind of the problem is still just here that even I don't think it really matters how many units Carthage has or Oro has in this northern area, because I don't really see just him having enough orders to actually move forwards here. Even with a huge amount of units. With these spears blocking your route chains, which is usually the way you kind of break the order advantage of the defender. And with by just getting a route chain, which means that you don't really need to move as many units forward as you would otherwise. So I think just with the larger army that Oro has, just if he can pull some of these units away from these hills, then attacking the city makes a lot more sense than it does at the moment. But it's always easy to say when you are the observer instead of a player. Because it's also really easy for if some of these units try to move and harass from behind this army, is that they just get collapsed down and you don't really get the opportunity to actually get the or like rather uh, make use of the advantage you get from these units being out of position. I'll have to take a quick drink, so I'll mute for just a second. There we go. Yeah. I assume both players are pretty much holding court on cooldown here, just to. Wait, no, actually, am I thinking of the wrong thing? Double check this. Yeah, this one costing. I always think them being the other way around. That one converts training into civics and one converts civics into training. So this is actually kind of interesting because I assume the training is more valuable than the civics at this point. Yeah, and Fluffy is saying in the chat that it seems unlikely that this game will end anytime soon, and I tend to agree. I don't think this game is ending before. There has to be some really, really strong advantage for some one player, and I don't really see what that would be. I don't really see even. On one side, I don't see Carthage getting their 8 strength regular units fast enough to actually do much here. And on the other hand, Assyria is so defensively postured that I don't think even crossbows is enough to actually push to these mountains against these elephants. Yeah, even. suggesting wonders and opulence to get the score victory. But I honestly think this might go to time before it goes to score with both players. Just getting so heavily investing in this military. And the crazy part is that even with this many units on the field, with this few cities, both players are really positive in resources. So it's not even like one player is going to go bankrupt anytime soon. Yeah, -3 in food is the only one. Plus 120 food per turn is just crazy. This is just an excessive amount of food, to be honest. What's this getting? Oh, is it? I am on the right point of view as well. And we're just going blind. Yes, and I do think that Oriens when this saying in chat that a lot of why this game has ended in such a statement is the combination of shorter lifespans from having realistic mortality, the having just only medium city side density, and having these negative cognomens, which combines into having a big map with few cities and less legitimacy than you would otherwise. So both players are working with a lot less orders than they would have in a regular setting game. And then spending a lot of the game kind of stalemating on this city. I mean, I guess you can call it stalemating, but this was a Carthaginian city that Assyria took, so it's technically Assyria is winning by holding this city. But the problem is that holding this city isn't enough to actually win the game. It's just to put the game into a deadlock at the state at the moment. But even this layout isn't super uncommon for a coastal rain base. This kind of two cities in the middle that are kind of protected by mountains. So we have seen this similar map type have games that have ended in 60 turns, probably maybe even less at some point. And Sion is saying that there's a good chance to outmaneuver here by moving. Instead of trying to push the northern side, you could try to make a play through one of these passes instead. And I do think I agree, but this also the one thing where, because both players are working with so few orders, it's really hard to actually make these kind of diversionary or like secondary attacks. Even if, though I do agree also that if one player should do it, it should be Carthage with the advantage he has in units. But it's just... It would be really convenient if Carthage had traders this game. They decided to go for artisan statesman riders. The one trader worker could basically road all the way to Gaza in a couple of turns. Can we see... I wonder how many times the city has completed the decree at this point. I assume it's a lot. But unfortunately you don't get the treasuries and forums give you a stacking bonus that you can check how many times you have done it, but the decree doesn't. But I assume that Carthage is actually quite a bit higher in the total number of orders that they have generated. Even more than this. This graph here only shows orders that you get from your passive, or rather the orders per turn that you get before any project or before any events or other stuff like that. For the wonder points, the healer police is the only or the wonder that is being built or is being built at the moment. So there is definitely you could try to fish for a culture victory or a points victory, especially with Ishtar. But a 5 city Ishtar is a lot weaker than a 7 city Ishtar. So even that isn't as powerful as it would be on other maps. I think going for Acropolis would be good if either player could afford the store for that at some point, just because it's more orders and it seems like both players are basically only constrained by the amount of orders they have at the moment. Instead of they definitely have the economy, they have enough military units, they have enough tech to get where they want to go. So it's basically just orders are the limiting factor at this point. Oh, this also helps a lot with cartridges order income being robust. Let's check this one. Yeah, Judaism still has no tenets, and with this much civics banked up, I think it would be well used to get these extra income, or especially this bonus from temples. Though I don't think, yeah, no doctrine for Assyria, so temple, the second level of theologies doesn't really matter to him as much. But Windless is what I imagine he was going for at some point. Or what he was going for when he cycled the tech tree for these longbows. This might actually be the first longbows in the entire tournament as well. I don't recall seeing any longbows on the field before this. Now, there was a couple of crossbows when you had the free crossbow card in the tech tree. I believe it was on hydraulics, maybe? But that got removed from the game in one of the patches that was before. Oh yeah, Alcaraz did get longbows in his game, but there used to be a card for free crossbows in the tech tree, and I think it was in hydraulics, but that got removed in one of the patches that was implemented after the tournament had played a couple of rounds. So this is on high points to win, but because we have only few city size, the amount of points you need is rather low. But what would this be with normal of victory points? Would it be 30 or would it be like 28? I don't know how the math works on this one. But I think if it was like 28 or something, that yeah, plus 25%. So no, I refuse to do mathematics on stream if I absolutely don't need to. So Sion is saying that 28 would be close to right. So I just choose to believe him instead of doing my own work here. But going for 28 would be really doable actually at this point, I think. Do we have any... I don't assume players have gone for opulence projects. Yeah, no. I don't think going for opulence makes any sense if you actually try to win the game by a military victory. Lots of luxuries though. I, hey, I confirmed that 28 was correct, so even without knowing the formula, I still managed to guess correct somehow. I was going through the event viewer earlier today, and I actually saw that you can get windlass free of an event if you have research hydraulics and you have a tactician on the throne, which is pretty funny. This is one of probably the most impactful text that you can actually get for free, even if it takes a couple of hoops to hop through, and also needs RNG, of course. It's a lot of cool things that you can find in these events. It's Sion saying that the free windlass is probably disabled on competitive mode, which makes a lot of sense, but it's also kind of unfortunate. Especially because having a military leader at this point in the game is already really strong. Getting a really strong, having a really strong event associate leader that is already pretty powerful is, of course, understandable. It's so probably the game warping for actual competitive play. Yeah, I didn't have the presence of mind to check whether it was available for competitive mode, or if you can even see that which ones are available for competitive mode. But this is definitely, both players are kind of just, I don't know. Oh yeah, it's Auro's turn again, so I was wondering why these Onages didn't attack, but I think this is pretty much a kind of podcasting mode cast at the moment, where we can look at the city of Hipporegius under permanent, or like forever under siege, and just theory craft and talk about interesting events and what we would do in this situation, but there's not really much action going on at the moment. Pretty funny though with these spearmen coming, or rather these pikemen coming out, but a grand total of 1 mounted unit. No, 2 mounted units on the side of Assyria. Not a lot for those pikemen to actually poke at the moment. Should we do this? So generals, decent amount for Carthage. What's this? 10-ish generals. Assyria. Yeah, Assyria definitely has way more generals, with the champions and hunters both giving generals at a decent rate. Well, veterans as well. Do patrons actually character? No, they don't even give extra generals, but there are just a lot of patron generals by the grace of RNG. Assyria. Getting 4 patron generals in 10 years is quite a few. Wait, actually, this is just. Are these actually? Oh, these might be royals. That would make sense. Oh yeah, makes sense. So these are just because all the royals are married into the patron family. That makes all of the kids that could command troops also patrons. I was looking that looked way too convenient even for patron, even for the character RNG to roll that highly. Yeah. Going for scholarship. Usually I'm not a huge fan of going for scholarship, but because this game is looking to go long, you might as well try to get today's end game reforms maybe. Oh, I heard something die. Let's see if we can find what did. Probably this militia or volunteer that was here. A conscript, I mean. We can see next turn. Oh, right. Yeah, it was the conscript. I don't know why, but I can never remember the existence of this highlight here. Setting orders at this point is pretty funny. Adopt legal code. Yeah, citizenship. I wonder what he will actually... Well, I guess stockpiling civics is always useful because you can always rush with them even if you have no other use. So it's really difficult to actually have too many civics. Glad to see the... I assume this is a tech card camouflage from land consolidation. Glad to see it still being alive and kicking. Yeah, it has to be. Wait, no, could actually be a build camouflage as well, not just a free one. There are camels here. I'm just impressed by these wood stockpiles for both players. It does make it's reasonable to get a lot of wood income, especially as Assyria, with these siege towers costing a lot to build. Especially battery ranks. Do we actually have any developing cities remaining? Yeah. There is one costing 100 wood. Yeah, so you do need a lot of wood, but after both players have um, slowed down the military production, the stockpile is just getting pretty huge. It's kind of interesting looking at these wonders as well, with the mindset of only having 5 cities, is that a lot of them scale a decent bit worse than you'd think. So, for example, the Oracle, which is kind of weak usually in duels, becomes a decent bit more powerful because it doesn't really care about the number of cities in any ways. While these Ishtar Gate probably being the biggest one, the bonus culture that you get on completion is it's a huge amount of culture. Even now with 500 in every city is a lot, but if you have 7 cities or 8 cities, you can basically double the value of the Ishtar. I'm just wondering which one I would build if I wanted to switch to wonder spamming. Probably some of the cheap ones, because you get the same amount of victory points for less resource investment and less time investment. So probably just start with the ziggurat and go from there with the lower improvement cost. Actually, where in the tech tree is engineering from architecture? I think this could be a sleeper powerful pick this game with the reduced wonder costs. If you really want to go for the wonder spamming to close out the game via score victory. I do wonder how many, even if you manage to make a push here and completely destroy the other player's army, I wonder how much time it would take to actually capture the capital. I'm wondering that when do players actually go for this game doesn't have enough time to end in a military victory anymore, and I will just start getting points. Is that at the 150 or 175 turns into the game or something? Will be interesting to see. Building Elder Priest is definitely rushing at least. Yeah, this is where all of Carthage's money is going. That is. Oh, this is nice. Actually, I love to see order rushing, even though it's the most pressure resource in the game usually. I don't think Carthage could move some of these units forwards if he wanted to. I don't think, with these onagers being stuck on these hills, all being unlimbered, ready to fight, I think these ballistas are the only units basically that can actually are a threat to these Carthaginian units. But it probably would just lead to this balance of power situation where both players are standing on these flat tiles in front of their own hills and just staring at each other. Neither player wants to move into this onager fire. It's pretty interesting though that Cottage could get a decent amount of catapults or onagers on these hills. But is deciding against it, rather having these fortified macemen sit here. Probably just caution against these Assyrian chariots here. The court here is nice. It is pretty annoying for Mojo though to have constantly keep repairing the city. It's not really contributing anything aside from the borders you get from it having it. I guess a couple of orders. I'd actually love to see these pillaged. I think sacrificing one of these, well, I wouldn't sacrifice a pikeman, but sacrificing a maceman, or even better, if you still had some tribals laying around, you could just run here and pillage these two improvements, and you'd probably make your orders back over time. Expensive, but fun play. Yeah. It's one of the things why I love the fast units like chariots, is that you just can do a lot with them. Even if they aren't useful in combat, they can be useful in other ways just because of the movement allows you to get them where they want to go. But we can. There's a chance that Heliopolis actually does get the bonus. Does get enough orders for Assyria to actually make an offensive. Though, because of the military strength being pretty lopsided for Carthage, I don't really see the offensive working. But There's always a chance where Assyria tries to push, overextend, and then Carthage can get something done, get some dynamism into the game. Very slow ambitions as well. I assume this one is going to fail, the one where you have the mech and family furious. So that's another half an order gone for Assyria. Wait, oh. I was confused by the 15 orders remaining, but I assume this is on tight. Yeah, it's on tight, so can spend this. No, he already has used all the workers, so this is actually just floating 15 orders. Whoa, this is a big forest fire. Though I think both players are fortunate that it happened here, them or the. Oh, a scout got rebuilt because the forest fire got immediately killed. Let's see if I can find this time. Oh, I assume it was on one of these tiles here. So I think well, I think this is too many village improvements to actually be worth trading against the scout. But with these few build queues available for both players, there's quite a high opportunity cost in actually rebuilding your scouts. Even if the scouts are obviously very powerful. Oh, more boats in the water. I wonder if this is a new one or an old one that is still hanging around from some previous stuff, because there is a chance that Auro is trying to go for a naval invasion again. But I assume that he hasn't seen these boats. Assyria is actually quite powerful on the seas with these free focus promotions. When you fight with no promotion boats against other no promotion boats, you don't really get any bonuses from your terrain in the water, so it's more of a just a headbutt where your combat strength matters the most. And when your combat strength matters the most, these free promotions do go a long way. I'm guessing Carthage is pretty lucky that he doesn't need the food immediately here. This is a lot of burning lumber mills, I assume. I don't think I've really listened to the sound effect that close before. Go for enlightenment, but doesn't really make a. Doesn't seem like it's a lot of value, you know. I assume, yeah, there's Zoro in every city already. Oh, nice one good part of Assyria cycling through the tech tree and grabbing the metaphysics real quick is that they did grab Christianity for themselves. Could get some theologies for Christianity, spread it around and get the bonuses from that as well. $101 turns for Legendary 2 in a artisan's city. Actually, patrons might be relevant here again. Getting the bonus of from being patrons is quite a lot of culture here from having this one precious resource here. It is pretty impressive though how happy all the families for Carthage are. I think that's one of the that probably is also a byproduct of having a low city site map, is that you get less cities for all of your families, so you get less discontent, which means that you also, of course, get less unhappiness as well. Actually, I probably need to do this. Not sure why, but which is saying that my bitrate tries to die every once in a while, so I assume some download started without me noticing. Usually I might look to exploit this forest fire in some way, but I don't really think Assyria is in a position to do so. It does have a really nice stockpile for building crossbowmen once they unlock. Getting the already has enough resources to just build 10 crossbows immediately. The problem is just I don't really know what these crossbows can do other than disencourage attacking even more. What's this third in line? Fourth in line. I think tactician is probably the one that you go for. I do wonder if Assyria actually will go for Polybolos for chain drive here. I'm not sure if even that would be enough to actually push forwards, but it would be definitely a good start. Getting a 10 strength unit is really powerful, even though it's elephants, of course. Well, not quite the perfect counter because they are a bit slower than these chariots, for example, but still very powerful. Wait. I didn't realize that there are no roads on these hills, or am I just being blind? Yes, this one here, but no others. I think there would be a decent amount of value in just roading all of these tiles. Would make, especially attacking, would be a lot easier over roaded hills rather than regular hills. Oh, but these are sand hills. All right. Just miserable terrain to attack over. Hipporegio slowly losing some health, but even if it loses all of its health, I don't think Carthage can really capture it. Or they can capture it, but they will lose it the next turn immediately. I'd probably take it with this unpromoted mazeman, but it's actually too far to even take the city. He's probably the least valuable unit on this entire side, along with this Axeman. Yeah, it's discounted 7, but I don't really see it mattering at all. Even if, I mean, this city is kind of useless, but even if you would get a rebel event in the city, it would just make Carthage's job a decent bit more more annoying to deal with those barbarians or rebels before moving forwards. Science, I assume Assyria is in lead, yeah. Here by 500 science approximately. Does have win-loss, but we were talking that this seems kind of unlikely that even getting win-loss is actually enough to for Assyria to push forwards. Maybe with Polybolos there would be a chance, but that's another 12 turns of attacking maybe. Actually, I could count it, but yeah, 1600, so a bit under 12 turns, 11 turns. This is I'm interesting to see what happens after the Heliopolis finishes though. That's probably the next actually game-changing thing that will happen. I wanted to, yeah, there's still the tech mark on jurisprudence. I do wonder why. I think it has to be elites. I think it's the only thing that makes sense, but I don't really like it. Oh, the other one is that it's also Portcullis is also marked, so maybe it's the insurrection place, but hard to see. Yes, I think that the idea is to get elites and then store up the excess orders for a couple of turns and then try to make a push with 100 orders banked. But that is pretty far away. I think there's a non-zero chance to for industrial progress here. I was just thinking that Auro actually has a ambition to grab architecture and manor. And he actually does have architecture. Has he just not adopted a law? Oh, he went for philosophy. Probably the reasonable choice to make most of the time. With the reduced urban specialist time, but I'd love engineering here for the wonder cost. I mean, Alcaraz is asking if Carthage is a path to victory, and I think it's just score at this point. I don't really see. Carthage isn't getting any stronger military from here on. He can just keep building these 8-strength elephants, and they are probably enough to make it so that Mojo can't really attack anywhere without these elephants. Can probably just blow through these spearmen if you get enough of them. But I don't think Oro is in a position to actually attack anymore this game. So I think it's just getting enough score to either win by outright score or just at the end of game score points. wondering, yeah. Mojo is doing the a good thing with building more shrines even now in preparation for Heliopolis. But I think he probably needs one more tech even after Windless to be in a position to actually attack. It's the attacking into elephants and pikemen is never easy. Yes, we were just looking at or looked at earlier that because this game is a game on realistic mortality, means that people die faster than they would die in most games. These legitimacy counts are really low. 50-tail legitimacy at 128. It's just so little. Because when the previous leader dies, you get the points from their cognom and the legitimacy points, but you get half of it. So, and then that just keeps getting halved the further down you go. So both players are in the well, Carthage is in the 50s and Auro is in the 40s. Very low order income from the legitimacy. Yes, and this modification does cost orders. We can probably show it by swapping to Carthage. These are all sleeping. Fortify here. Consumes one order and it consumes every turn. This is just an insane amount of war elephants. Even with this double judge, not zealot on these elephants. Even more here. No, this is only a 6 strength one. Hiding among its brethren. I didn't realize how similar these icons for the units are as well. I don't think I can see the difference from up here. I need to zoom in before I can actually see the shield in front of this one. The more you know. Yeah. There are a lot of wonders in the game. A lot of decent ones I'd consider as well. I always like the ziggurat for the flat civics and the improvement costs. A lot of these wonders are just kind of interesting because they do like having more cities available. Like the Hanging Gardens getting 20% in all cities also of course is a lot more income when you have the more cities you have, the more that 20% actually goes. But the Ishtar is pretty much the biggest culprit here because a 5-city Ishtar isn't that appealing to build, even though it would still be pretty good. But even like this, the Oracle, because it doesn't care about the number of cities at all, is quite interesting. Not costing something else in addition to stone is always good as well. The Clothon, but the only problem is that controlling the seas is kind of it's nice, but neither player is in a position to actually use naval supremacy in any way, or even naval superiority. They are just kind of having boats because they can't really fight here, so you could build boats and try to fight on the sea. Yeah, this the ziggurat and the museum haven't gone because there was just a lot of fighting over the city. Like you can see from the name, Hipporegius, that this is a Carthaginian city originally that Assyria captured in, I think it was in part 2 of this map game, I think. On turn 50-ish, probably. And then they have been just fighting over the city for the rest of the game. It is kind of unfortunate though that most of these Carthaginian cities actually have Roman names for them or Latin names for them. But I assume that it's because ancient Carthaginian is kind of, or ancient Punic is pretty much impossible to write and read nowadays. Basically a forgotten language. Let's see if we have some. I don't think this city has done anything for the entire game other than just spam repair projects. It's a question about crossbows. I mean, I don't think crossbows are particularly powerful against the elephants in general. They are still, it's still an 8 strength unit against an 8 strength unit, and the crossbow doesn't get any bonuses against mounted units. Or was it a bonus against? I thought it was bonus against the infantry. Maybe I just can't read. Yeah, anti-melee. Yeah. I can't read. I keep reading anti-melee as anti-infantry. Yeah, so they would indeed destroy these elephants if they can attack them. And even more so destroy these pikemen. Maybe I'm too pessimistic about these crossbows. I still just don't really see it happening immediately. For upgrading archers, he built a couple in the last turns, but basically just these two. Everything after these two archers here are pre-builds just for the timing. But it is a pretty nasty timing, getting Windless and the Heliopolis and pre-building these archers that they can immediately upgrade is kind of... it's a big power spike, but let's see if it's actually enough to make progress. Where's Nineveh? Oh. Interesting. Must have been the world's smallest volcanic eruption, only on the volcano tiles themselves. Oh, well, it's just missing... All of these are impassable, but there's no visual for them. And nothing got pillaged. Interesting. Yeah, you can even see the... When you try to move a civilian unit over there, it doesn't allow you to move into the city, the house next to the volcano. So it's just a visual bug, I guess. Probably some observer mode weirdness. And consolidation, yeah, going for mana makes sense. And cohorts then afterwards. Though I do wonder if he would reconsider after seeing the crossbows on the field. And then go for Bodkin arrow instead, go grab those longbows. Actually, because there is Christianities in the game as well now. There's even some more points in the religion wonders that don't show in the wonder menu here. Or the wonder list. But we'll see next turn. No, into the probably next turn already. He does have the scout snuck behind Hipporegius, so he will see once these crossbow promotions come in. But again, this is just very awkward ground to attack through because of these couple of sandy hills here make it so that you can stage on these hills and you can defend on them, but you can't really move through them in any way, easy way. Just costs so much or many orders to actually get through this choke point. If even one of these hills was not sandy, it would make attacking so much more convenient. Yeah, let's see. The Burs and Miaras. Doesn't show it anymore. Yeah, only 200 stone for the religion wonders. Yeah, 200 for all of them. But I do believe that they were also only one victory point. Oh no, it's actually just full 2 victory points. Interesting. Longbows. Let's see. No immediate upgrades yet, so let's see what he is thinking. Actually, stirrups available. There is a chance for Mojo to actually go for this cataphracts as well. He's technically only 2 techs away. That's an interesting option. I don't think you can. I think cataphracts are one of those units that you can't really defend against. Though with so many pikemen, it's of course not trivial as well. But just having the combination of having really high mobility and then having 10 combat strength means that you can just do a lot, even against pikemen. Oh, now we got the volcanic eruption event pop-ups here and the pillaging, but we still don't have any visuals on it. We actually grab a screenshot of this. I'm assuming that it's only a this as well. There we go. I assume this is just a spectator mode visual inconsistency here, and I assume it shows 2 Mojo as regular lava here. But I still drop a message in the Discord about this. There we go. Crossbows on the field. Oh, this is actually quite interesting because now with these 8-strength units, the negative percentage modifiers start mattering a lot more as well. With this angry family actually making this only 7.2. Yeah, they're so unhappy. Oh, they flipped to paganism. I assume, instead of Judaism, so the paganism isn't nearly as happy about the Assyrian rule as the pagans are. Let's see, how close is Carthage to the 8th ranked unit? If they go for longbows, it's 2 turns for land consolidation. I already say 600, so this is 7 turns. Like 15 turns for something from 8th ranked units. Could go either for longbows or crossbows of their own, but I just assume you want to go for longbows after you see enemy crossbows. Do we actually know how experienced are these players in multiplayer? Because these late game wars are something that you don't really see too often, even in single player games, and even much more rarely in multiplayer. Because these are really intricate tactical puzzles that you can get into now. So are these upgraded? These Focus Sphere Sentinel. Oh, interesting. Still has Steadfast from something. This must be. No, but I think this was a new archer. Or it might have been a slinger that was somewhere really far back and then it got upgraded. Because that is one of the advantages that Assyria has, is that a lot of Assyria's units are upgraded, and because they are Assyria they come with basically a free upgrade to start with in the focus, while Carthage has nothing upgraded in this entire army basically. Only this one archer here and this one Onager are more than experience level 1. Definitely one of the strong bonuses, like the Assyria does come with 2 war bonuses built into the civilization itself in the free crit and then the +2 orders per military unit killed, while Carthage doesn't have anything, so hiring mercenaries is kind of a military bonus. It gives a lot of tempo and say you saving build time, so you can either double up and build both your military units while hiring mercs at the same time, or you can build econ while you hire mercs. But it's not really anything that actually does anything in this late game war situations where you just want to mass as much power as you can into as small space as you can. Seems like, yeah, Carthage still has all their families in control, or under control. There we go, this is the Heliopolis, did I count wrong? There we go. Just took some time for the turn to roll over. State legitimacy is also quite nice. So, the order income. Does it count this turn or do we see it next turn? So last turn Mojo was +28. This turn Mojo started please with +53. Or next turn will start with +53. Just a lot of orders. Basically doubling the order income with one wonder. And really make use of it immediately though. else did the Heliopolis give me? Yeah, only the autos. It also equal the score points as well. So Carthage doesn't win by default anymore. It'll be interesting to see what happens next. Doesn't have any crossbows in the build queue yet though. Deciding to go for more officers and specialists in general before going for those crossbows. I do wonder how many you would need to put here. He does have these 2 longbows and these 3, 4 crossbows here. 5 crossbows now. This is a ballista, not a crossbow, yeah. Assume. Yeah, it's a ballista, not a crossbow. Putting generals on the 8th strength units as well. Pretty scary. Pretty scary units here. But I think, yeah, this is what I figured is if you try to push against these fortified pikes with longbows, it doesn't do anything. Even crossbows with the bonus damage still lose the pikes in forest. On these hills there's much better chances. But then you need to be wary of these routes because you do see the elephants staging up behind the mountain valley. Mojo hasn't really been inclined to take the offensive after the initial capture of the city, so I'm wondering if he will actually push forwards now that he has all the crossbows ready. These immediate upgrades would indicate so, but it's never easy to tell. This is just such such a scary amount of elephants with this 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 elephants just congregating along the river here. Land consolidation in 1, so... Oro has marked ballistics, so he wants to go for mangonels, but he is just really far away from those. That's 20 turns of tech or so. More units to fortify in the forests. Definitely a defensive posture here. These siege towers are really strong, like always, but I do wonder how Mojo actually wants to utilize these. There's not really... the terrain isn't good for them here. I guess they get one good attack on this. I believe this was a former shrine. But aside from this tile, they don't really have any good tiles to fight on because they always want to stay on urban. Because of the... where's the bonus here? Assault from attacking into urban is the biggest bonus that these Assyrian both siege rams and siege towers get, and it's a 50% combat bonus is a lot, considering how a lot of the generalist combat bonuses are either plus 10 or plus 25 for the bit more specialist ones. So plus 50 is the biggest combat bonus that you get in the game, basically, aside from the 100% that pikemen get. The anti-mounted or anti. Depends on how British you decide to be on how you actually pronounce that word. Building ministries. But yeah, we'll have to look at the order income after next turn runs around, rolls around, so we can actually see how insanely impactful the Heliopolis order income bonus actually is. It's another question on how much Mojo can actually utilize it. Yeah, and this is a really really funny jump here, going from 28 on 130 to 53 in one turn. So then basically doubling the orders. Oh, the players are pausing the session for now. Yeah, I was. So it's also though really funny that the players are commentating on how this was a rather peaceful part of the game, but it's also that the city of Hipporegios has been eating 3 Onager's shots for every turn for the last 20 turns or so. But otherwise, yeah, not really a huge amount of military actions. And the players are calling it here, so we will see this continue on. I believe that would be part... Is it actually part 8 already? I didn't even name my stream with the part this time because I wasn't completely sure which part we were on at the moment. But yes, thank you for tuning in, and I will turn down my stream now. Please do go watch Sion. He's covering the other match that's going on today, so we'll probably be sitting in chat there as well. So thank you for watching and see you next time.